Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Nigerians. I'm back again. Um, I want us to take a very long journey. But this time around, um, what I would like us to discuss, I would like us to discuss about the mechanics of human life, action, and consequences in a society. The reason why I want to take us through this discussion is because yesterday I was discussing with some of my workers because there is a fellowship, or there is this partnership between the federal government and an international body, and the purpose of that partnership is to create an enabling environment for young graduates that have served, that have done their NYSC. So those category of people that are currently unemployed, that partnership between the federal government and the international body is supposed to now enable those fresh graduates with their NYSC degree certificate to gain some skills that they can use to now be productive in the society. So the criteria, or the criteria to be eligible to participate in that program is that: number one, you must be a graduate; number two, you must have your NYSC degree; and then number three, you must be unemployed, and then you have interest to learn any particular skill so that you add value to the society. So in discussing with these intakes that my own company had currently taken in, I realized that one of them was not a graduate, has not gone to university, has not done NYSC, and the other two have gone to university but have not done their service. So if this information is correct, and then there's another interesting part, because one of them came in through a certain arrangement, or two of them have a certain arrangement where the person that onboarded them, because there is an exam you have to take, pass, and then before you eventually become available for companies like mine to interview and take you in. So what I got to find out is that there are certain persons that are aware of this opportunity. Then those people recruit people like this, either graduates who have not served, or probably people who have not even gone to university. They take them in, and then they put them through how the process will go, and then they finally get to be available for companies to take in. Then when companies take them in, the deal is that they share a percentage. It looks like that is about 30 to 40%, no, 30, about 30% of their stipends that that international body pays them at the end of every month. They share that percent with the person that recruited them before, then they take the rest, what is remaining. So on hearing this from that particular um, employee, I was now thinking in my head, what am I going to do and how do I address this? Because it's not fair. Number one, there are so many criteria for eligibility that has not been met. And what will be the consequences, assuming I decide to take this up, which I am? Number one, these three persons definitely will stop working. It may not be immediately good for them, but they will definitely eventually find something else to do. Then, but my main challenge in my head as at yesterday when I was thinking about this was that person that I'll give this report to on the Nigerian side, how am I sure that that person is not one among the beneficiaries of this scheme? And if I make this report, am I sure that that person will deliver on their part to make sure that the laws that they have set by themselves to enable them achieve this goal also succeed? So, but I was uncertain. But today, I finally realized that, okay, assuming that fails, we can just also reach out directly to the international body and make this observation known to them, so we can now investigate further. So, but one thing I want you to pick from this is that in 2027, if you are um, you want your vote to count, right? I know somewhere in your mind you hope that if there is an electoral officer that is being bribed to change or falsify a result, I know you want that person to say no, and you want that person to do the right thing because you know that that is how we will build a better society. So why I'm saying this is that immediately these people that also these new intakes that have also become my friends, it's going to be a sad experience doing this, but if I want Nigeria to be better, this is a step that I have to take to do my own part in this my own dark corner to make sure that I'm not a part of the problem. Now, this is story number one that is still developing. Now, I want to give you another story that have developed and is paused. Last year, before this is the background why I'm taking you on this journey with me, in which we will be discussing the mechanics of human action, consequences, and how it plays out in society. Now, in this second scenario or experience or what I've witnessed last year, 2025, before the end of the school session, secondary school, I have a nephew living with me that we put in public school. That's the government school. Public school. It's a public school. He came home on a certain day, and he had his head cut to the skin. When I saw it, it was very hilarious because in another space where I'd had a lot of experience, if we see somebody with that type of haircut where your entire head is cut to the skin, we usually laugh at you and call it Mama No Dey House because we considered it in that space that this is the kind of haircut which if your mama no dey house, you go meet one barber wey no too get skill, he go barb you that kind hair, kodo. So we are calling it Mama No Dey House. So when I saw him come back home from school with Mama No Dey House, I said, who give you Mama No Dey House? It was hilarious. I laughed about it. It was so funny that, and it was also looking not so good on him, but I let it slide and just went on with my activities. So, but I think the following day, when he came back, I now decided to dig in further. How is it that you did this in poor service for yourself? The guy is 15 years old. So he now narrated the story or the incident to me. How on the Monday when he went to school, he was stopped at the gate and told to kneel down. After kneeling at the gate for about, say, almost an hour, that's at 7 a.m., they were now moved from the gate when other students went for assembly under a mango tree to continue the kneeling. So they kneeled down up to about 10 a.m. That's about 3 hours entirely. About over 30 students. My nephew was just one of them. So they had this experience where they knelt down for about 3 hours, and when it was about 10 a.m., the teachers came and they started moving them to the final destination, or I think still around the mango tree, where they were told that their hair will be cut. So my nephew did not understand why. So, but another senior in the space raised his hand and asked the question why their hair is going to be cut. So the teacher told them that their hair will be cut because it is unkempt. So the whole students there revolted, according to my nephew. They all revolted that why no, their hair should not be cut, all these ones. So, but at the end of the day, they summarized that everybody there had their hair cut. I don't know the style that was given to other students, but I know that my nephew came back with Mama No Dey House. That's Kodo. So when I heard this, it broke my heart, right? Because fortunately, the Sunday, it was weekend, so I took my family out to have a good time. So fortunately, we had pictures. So I immediately took a record. I took my picture, I saved it. I took his current hair condition, I saved it. I felt this is not fair. So I went to the school on the Wednesday to go and now follow up on the matter because I thought it shouldn't be like that. And hearing that it was also this action was also meted out to over 30 students, I had to do something about it, because remember, if this society will get better, for me as a person, I've decided that I will do whatever I need to do that I can see. If I cannot see it, let it be that I did not know. But if I can see it, then I have to do something, all in the bid that my society will be better. So when I went to the school, I went to the principal's office. Now, I I had to print or write this down so that I'm very clear on the information I'm sharing. So now, what was my discussion with the principal? The summary was that I told the principal that number one, the students knelt down for over 3 hours for any kind of punishment. That seems to be unfair. Number two, the students had their hair forcibly cut, because my nephew at least accounted to me that he resisted that or rejected that uh, action. Number three, the worst part, I even forgot about this. Do you know? After the students had their hair cut, they were demanded, or they were told that they must pay sum of 1,000 naira for that haircut. 1,000 naira for cutting your hair without your consent. So I told the principal, now I'm still at the principal's office, I told that fee was not correct, because mind you, if this is a disciplinary action, it should be a disciplinary action. When you are now extorting, or let me remove that word, when you are now demanding money for an unwarranted, or for a service that was not requested of you, it's a question mark. Now, then for the students that didn't have that 1,000 naira, their sandals was collected from them. Their sandals was collected from them. They were, so that they will make sure they bring the money. So, but they stayed in school throughout the day without sandals, and at the end of school, their sandals was returned to them. So, but my own nephew had 500 naira, so he did not have the complete money for, which is 1,000. So he begged the teacher that, see, I only have 500 naira. Take the 500 naira, I will pay the following day. They refused, but he didn't want to give them their sandals, because he already know how Nigeria is. If he gives them his sandals, he's not sure that he will get it back in one piece. So it was important to him to stay with his sandals. So the teacher agreed that he should take his sandals, give him the 500, then the following day, the remaining 500, he should bring it to school, which my wife had told him not to take as at on Tuesday. So me now getting into the scene, my wife had told him not to give them any extra money. So, but me came into the scene on Wednesday. So now, I also told the principal that it was a teacher that enforced all these actions. So, key points after meeting the principal walked me out of her office. She was very angry and furious that after all they are doing to try and train our kids for us, a parent have the effrontery to come here and be making this kind of statements. So she walked me out and I left. So I want Nigeria to be better. This wasn't necessarily about my nephew. What was my aim and what was my request after making these things that I saw as unfair in my own common sense? My request was that I want you, the principal, to organize that on the assembly, the teachers that meted out these actions should take responsibility. Number one, they'll come on the assembly ground and reject that action that they have meted out to the students and tell the students that that kind of action is wrong. And then number two, all the students that money was collected from, they should refund all those students that money and make it clear such that if these kids are in that space, they should learn that this kind of action is bad for a society and it should never happen. This was my request to them, to the principal. So she walked me out of her office and she said it's not possible that a whole teacher will come and apologize to a student. I left, but I wasn't going to give up. And I can imagine that you, a parent or any adult listening to this, might think I'm exaggerating the situation. But see, remember, I want you to know that if an INEC official was presented with ₦1 billion, if you want Nigeria to be better, I know and I hope that you want that, like, that INEC official to reject that money and possibly report whoever is trying to turn over the will of the people. So in that place where an INEC official is and you are not there, you want that person to be accountable and you want to make sure that the right thing is done. So I had to do something more. So since I have gone to discuss with them, and not just that they turned me down, they were outraged by my efforts, and they also said that it's not going to happen. I went and consulted with a lawyer. The lawyer wrote a petition. I paid for his services. He sent the petition to the school through a clerk. So I can't remember the day, but I was expecting a call from the school. So the school reached out to me through their chairman. So I went to meet their chairman because myself, remember, this is not about retaliation or injustice or whatever kind of punishment. It is about doing my own quota to make sure that the kids are learning the right things and that our society is great. So the chairman, the summary of my meeting with the chairman was that number one, whatever I'm doing will lead to the principal losing her job. And then number two, that we can settle amicably. There is no need for a petition and a lawsuit. So I was very happy that at least it didn't take more time and resources from me, that somebody has called, let's settle this, let's do the right things, let's make sure that the kids are learning correctly. So I obliged him. We immediately was asking for my schedule. I said, no, I'm available because this is a burning interest. So we went immediately to the school. On getting to the school, the story changed. The chairman, the story, whatever he was saying right there, I was now hearing another stories of other parents where their kids were also beaten very terribly, and they came to also complain, and they were using those kind of stories to tell me how I'm part of the problem. So it was quite interesting and overwhelming, and I felt that whatever, because they were the principal, one other, I think her vice, that chairman. So I was just there with my wife, and it was overwhelming because this is new for me, and I just look like I'm trying to do something that is a little bit weird. So what I could just do was tell them that I insist that this was wrong. There should be an apology to the kids and a correction such that they learn the right thing for the betterment of the society. So I left. I told them that I would drop the case, and that's all I could say at that point. So when I left, on further review of the case, I realized that it was going to cost me more time, more money, and I wasn't sure I'm in a place where I could afford that time and money. So, but in the second meeting I had met with the principal, she had told me that she personally takes responsibility for the action of that teacher, and it is her directive that actions that played out should be carried out. In the process of all this debacle, I've just cut the story short. The story short is that I wasn't able to go forward for the reasons I've mentioned. So, but the chairman sent me this information. This information, I'll just read a part of it. It's a summary of a PTA meeting that was had in the school. So in that PTA meeting, they had said that they have problem of indiscipline with the kids. So there is need for them to do something about it, and part of what they would do is that if a child comes to the school with with a bushy hair, that's their own words, that the disciplinary committee shall punish the kid by cutting his hair, and that they will also pay for that haircut. They sent this to me on WhatsApp, and I had to just print it. This is a section of the minutes of that PTA meeting. My wife was in attendance. So now, if you see, immediately after that agreement, the follow-up is that some parents who responded appreciated the principal for her efforts. Now, this is not correct, because if you are making a law, because I was really ready to discuss and let's find ways, if they have problems of indiscipline, of course I can think, we can innovate, we can create systems, methods that will work and not also further ruin the life of the kid, right? Because when you cut, anyway, forget, let me just continue. If you are a parent and you do not know better, I of course expect you to oblige the principal and commend their efforts. But any agreement that falls short to comply with state laws, the constitution, national laws, is null and void. Now, fortunately these days it's not so difficult to get access to information and get access to proper information. So I did my own research in this whole process, and I've come up with I came up as at that time with a list of Nigerian laws that were breached. I'm not going to read everything, but I want you to know that, see, if this country will get better, you need to do not what you think is right. You have to abide by the laws of the country. Even if you feel that a certain type of action is acceptable to you, the extent to which that action is not in line with the law or the constitution, that action can put you in trouble. Now, what laws? Federal Nigerian laws breached. Number 1, the Federal Constitution of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. Section 34, right to dignity of the human person. I can tell you how it's breached, but that's not the focus of this video. Highlights: forcing approximately 30 students to kneel down for over 3 hours on bare ground constitutes inhuman and degrading treatment. The forcible cutting of hair was carried out in a humiliating manner designed to degrade the students rather than serve as legitimate disciplinary action or educational purpose. That's as it concerns right to dignity of the human person. Section 34, prohibition of forced or compulsory labor. The schools later, this is too much, I don't know if you want to find out, but let me just pick the headings. Right to personal liberty was also infringed upon. Section 17, state policy on education. I can tell you how it was affected. Now, Child Rights Act of 2023, the federal government, right to dignity of the child was breached. Prohibition of corporal punishment, this is Child Rights Act. Freedom from attacks on honor and reputation. Criminal Code Act, this as the extortion is involved. Section 351, common assault. Section 353, assault occasioning bodily harm. Unlawful confinement / deprivation of liberty. Limits of lawful correction, that's 295. Section 99, extortion by public officers. Section 383/390, stealing or theft. Anyway, the matter strong. Violation against Persons Prohibition Act, federal government, that one day. Then Anambra State laws that were breached. Child's Right Law of Anambra State 2004 as amended. Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law of Anambra State. Criminal Code Law of Anambra State. Then there are some other observations here. Let me just read this conclusion. Based on the facts set out in both written statements, because I made my own account of what I experienced in going to handle this situation, I got my nephew to make his own statement of what he experienced. I documented pictorial evidences of before school and after school. Based on those, the conduct of the teachers and the school's administration constitutes multiple breaches of Nigerian federal law, Anambra state law, and Nigeria's international obligations. The breaches span constitutional rights, criminal offences, child protection legislation, and whatever else is written here. So, what is my point? This case may be lying low, but the least I could do was to send out messages to relevant bodies, both in the states, internationally, to see if I'll get a response, which I didn't. But the main reason why I had to stop was time, funding, and the aim was proper education of our kids, exposing them to right teaching, right society, so that they can grow up, learn the right things, and live a better society for us. These two situations I have listed for you, or I've told you. Updates might come in the future when I find the chance. But my dear, as a person, I think there are certain choices or decisions you have to make for yourself. If you look at our country today, I'm confident that you have excess, unlimited number of evidence that you do not like how the country is. The question is, do you want to be a part of the problem, or do you want to be a part of the solution? The greatest decision as a people we are going to make in 2027, it boils down to the election. And if you and I, fellow Nigerians, do not make personal decisions that, as a person, I want to be in compliance with the law, I want to work with the law, I want this society to be fair, I want it to be just, that Nigeria of our dreams may still elude us. And I feel that we have enough time. We have what it takes. And if we do not give up, if we do not turn a blind eye, then I can guarantee you that from 2027 going upwards, we can start seeing a semblance of that kind of society where truth, justice, and peace will reign supreme. I keep reminding you about this song, Great Nation by Timi Dakolo. Please do find the time to listen to that song, because I feel it embodies all the aspirations of us as a people. And it also shows us the work that we need to do to contribute our own part towards building a better society for ourselves. So I urge you on, you have to remain accountable to yourself. You have to do what you can, when you can, whatever you can do to make sure that you do not let it slide. It's not about punishing people. It's not about witch hunting. It's just that if the same laws do not apply to everybody all the time, then that Nigeria of your dreams is not going to happen. So this is a first in a series of videos where I will now take you more into what I have termed the mechanics of human action, the consequences, and how it plays out in society. What I'll be sharing is all my own observation and the logic that plays out when an action is carried out. Because I feel that there are a lot of things I see in this society that need not happen the way they are happening. And this is my own part that I can play. The main reason why I'm sharing is that, as I round up, for the longest possible time, I had a burning question in my heart or in my mind that what is the best way to live here on the planet? I did not know an answer. So I searched, I researched, I read a lot of books looking for an answer. Answer to what question? What is the best way to live here on the planet? In this journey, I'll be sharing with you my findings, and there is a particular book I read in this search that offered a very fantastic answer to one other question that arose. The title of the book was or is Why Am I Afraid to Tell You Who I Am? The title of the book is Why Am I Afraid to Tell You Who I Am? The answer at the end of that book is this: I am afraid to tell you who I am because if I told you who I am, that is all that I am. There is no me remaining elsewhere. There is no extra me remaining elsewhere. So if I told you who I am, that's all I am. And if you do not like it, then there is no me remaining elsewhere. So I will not tell you who I am because I don't know if you will like it. In a lot of ways, we are all the same. We want the same things, we aspire for the same things, but the question is, well, I have a voice. I've shared my voice today with you. You have a voice, and I hope that you can share it. You can remain accountable in that darkest place where you have some responsibility to fulfill for the betterment of the society. It is my hope and wish that you do the right thing and you remain accountable. Till next time, have a great day.